Very good evening, everyone. My name is Gulshan Memoria. I'm the CEO and the founder of Inspiredvalley. It's a personal growth company based in Delhi. So every week we connect with the best minds in the education industry for the sole purpose of connecting and discussing on some of the prominent topics. And this week our topic is life beyond the STEM courses. So let me introduce you to the panel. The first speaker that we have is Miss Paromita Mukherjee. She is the Vice Principal at Lingaya's Public School, Faridabad. Next speaker we have in line is Miss Sapna Sukul. She is the founder of Edustart Solutions. Next speaker we have in line is Dr. Neha Sharma. She is the principal of GD Goenka Public School, Ghaziabad. Next in line we have is Miss Veena Raizada. She is one of the educational consultant based in Delhi NCR. Next we have is Mr. Paresh Yadav. He is the co-founder and director of CerboTech Education Private Limited. I welcome everyone.
Thank you.
So let me ask my first question to Miss Paromita Mukherjee. As our topic suggests that why this like everybody is focusing on the STEM courses, nowadays. So why the majority of the Indian students are so obsessed with STEM courses? And can you point out some of the prominent reasons? Why is it so, out there? Paramita miss, you have to unmute
Okay, now
yourself.
I think I'm
Yeah,
audible.
please.
If I go back little in history, like even after independence, India was an underdeveloped country, and all these to build the economy, all these modern temples were being built. Like Tata was building the steel industry. Somewhere we had the refineries coming up. So to build the economy, parents and all the Indians felt that STEM courses, especially if we talk about technology, engineering, medical, they would really help not just the country to go, but even the students and the parents felt that was a very safe and very respectful. The moment you did that course, you became an engineer and a doctor, and parents were obsessed with these two, especially professions. They were safe, you would always get a good job, and you would be respected and good pay packet. And for a long period of time, you'd still be in circulation, and like people would always respect you, and you could have a job, you'd be never out of the job. And even after, if I say nowadays, even now the Gen Z, if we're talking about them, they also feel that STEM courses are much more better than the liberal arts. Liberal arts, if you follow your passion, definitely you'll get a job. You can even become an entrepreneur, no doubt, like being a graphic designer or journalist. But it takes little time to get a position and to establish yourself compared to the STEM jobs. STEM, whether you're a doctor, you're in pharmacy, you're in medical profession, anything, biotech, there are many more options. And secondly, if we just talk about the STEM courses from school, after school, a student who has completed the science, 12th, has done 12th in science, they have the option to join college in any stream, be it science, be it commerce, be it humanities. Whereas the humanities students had just to go for humanities, nothing else. Even though now architecture is open to people who have got that flair of sketching and drawing, they are not so much obsessed with only STEM students. This is opening up. But earlier, you couldn't do it. So because of the huge choice of options that you had before you, the STEM course was the most safest. And as I said, respectable. So they could, even after doing STEM, you were an engineer or doctor somewhere, you could still move into a second profession, maybe open up a restaurant or open up your own business, become an entrepreneur later on. But those with liberal arts who have done just...
that could be one of the reasons, the historical aspect, and moreover having a lot of options out there. Just let me take the Paresher views. Yeah, Paresher, you wanted to share something, please.
Basically, if I have to give my views in this case, 80s, 90s, that's when we did our schoolings, most of us here on this call. So now, in those times, the economy was just opening up. And because the economy was opening up, there are very few limited job opportunities which are available across doing that. And most of those job opportunities were primarily into the engineering and the medical sector. Later on, as gradually the economy opened up and things started rolling out, a lot of other options started developing into the country. A lot of other new things started coming in. That's when this new courses started getting those visibility that was required across for them. But at this point of time also, since a lot of things is happening in IT industry, and there is a huge misconception that everything in IT industry is rated only to the STEM courses. Still, that's the reason why there's a lot of preference for STEM courses. Whereas IT industry, there's a lot of things which can happen beyond the STEM courses also.
I would can say there was some data I would like to share with you guys. So I've just noted down. So in India, on average, more than 1.5 million students they get their degree in engineering every year, and 8,80,000 students enrolled in only computer science engineering in 2020 alone. So I know there is a huge rush. I mean, getting the engineering degree done. Sapna ma'am, I would like to have your views first, because I'm sure, because I've seen your journey, because I am in the I'm connected in the education industry in the past 8 to 9 years, and I'm following you past almost 2.5 years. Yes, I've seen your journey on LinkedIn, because I mean, when the lockdown hit, so I was more active on LinkedIn. So I've seen. So you are actually traveling to a lot of states regularly, and you are interacting with a lot of students, teachers. Why there is a huge rush with this engineering degree, especially, I mean, after the 10th standard, that if you will take engineering in 11th standard, then your future will be more secured. Why there is this mind shift is there?
So, yes, yeah, I will talk from the perspective of different states. Like today,
Yes,
I'm sitting in Bhopal in a school.
please.
So,
Mm-hmm.
my job has only become to tell the parents about NEP, about what is happening around. Uh, each parent is when we talk about parents. So, every parent, when we talk about different cities like B town, C town, so they
Mm-hmm.
have a government job. Most of them are in a government job or a small business houses,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a set format that बच्चा पढ़ेगा, 12th जाएगा, engineering करेगा, कुछ ना कुछ college में मिल जाएगा. Since I take all these exams where children go abroad, I take the interviews, and in that interview also, most of them who come are engineers or doctors or nurses. So these careers are because it says that okay, there will be some job or the other, which even if they get 15,000 rupees job after that, but they feel that they are secured. They are not ready to jump into that new world. This is the new world we are staying. So this
Mm-hmm.
21st century, we keep talking about big words, critical thinking, problem solving. For parent, it is not there. Not all parents are uh, that forthcoming. That what is 21st century? Why such jobs? They still pester them. There are many parents that are educated parents also, the ones in the government job. They want their children to join the government job as an engineer, maybe in PWD, maybe in irrigation. I'm telling the departments which are very flourishing here. They want that. They even if a child aspires to be a MPPSC or UPPSC or
Exactly.
a state board, they say पहले engineering कर लो, एक डिग्री ले लो हाथ पे, उसके बाद जो करना है करना. So they do not have this mindset that after 11th, my child does not want to do engineering or this. Let him prepare what he wants. They are not ready. Most of them are. So, what I urge to all the principals and many of them who are
Mm-hmm.
leading many institutions, even if they are not here, please be please have sessions with parents
Hmm.
and different states. Talking about the government sector, because I work a little bit with government, आप उन बच्चों को क्या बताओगे 11th 12th को कि लिबरल आर्ट क्या होता है, आर्ट क्या होता है? फॉर देम इट इज नो, इट विल टेक टाइम. They only believe that they will either they have to go abroad, either they have to go abroad and settle down in Canada or Australia, or
Mm-hmm.
they have to join any government job, which is which is obviously with this STEM learning. They don't believe in art, and then they don't believe that बच्चा कुछ कर पाएगा.
Ma'am, there might be one of the reason, because in India we have seen also, because we also connected with a lot of schools, especially with the career guidance programs. I mean, since my early days with CBSE, we used to conduct this career guidance program, and whenever there would be a program, we also have this parents orientation session. I mean, you talk about 20 years before also, 10 years before also, and nowadays also, parents are heavily indulged in the decision making, especially with the career options, whether it's choosing the career options. So I think, because for them, STEM is more suitable career option rather than the humanities. That is why it's still out there. Veena ma'am, you have raised your hand. Please share your views.
I just wanted to add something from
Please,
my
ma'am.
own experience that STEM might be a popular course, but for girls' institution, I found it really difficult to start even with the first student being admitted to 11th class.
Okay.
And they said, like the obviously the course didn't matter for them. So how I inspired those girls to go with commerce and computer science, so that even while sitting at home, they could control the business of their families, understand the joint venture, or understand the companies their husbands are running. So STEM, over the period of time, has become a favorite of girls. There has been gender bias about this in the beginning, earlier years. Now, of course, the girls are opening up, and more of them are in the science and the STEM courses and the engineering courses. But earlier, it was not. That's what I
Okay.
just wanted to add it.
Okay, one question I would like to ask with Neha ma'am also. Like you're
No,
more. Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was very patiently listening to everyone because I thought, let me hear everyone out and then share what I have to say about the
Please, please,
same.
please.
See, so here I think let me play a bit of devil's advocate. So, we belong, all of us here, except for you, I must say, we belong to the generation where our parents gave us only three choices. One was doctor ban jao, सेकंड वाज इंजीनियर बन जाओ, तीसरा था आईएएस बन जाओ.
Hmm.
जाहिर सी
ये
बात
चौथा
है.
एक और है, शादी कर लो.
अगर पढ़ाई नहीं की ठीक से तो शादी कर देंगे.
That was a unanimous
एक और
option.
था बैंक में नौकरी कर लो. बैंक का नौकरी was also after government job, another
PO or
option.
something, yeah, bank PO or something.
Yeah.
Right? Now what happened was, because we had only few compartments to choose from, most of us ended doing, BSc, engineering, and something which was related to science. So, every previous generation and the current generation, they hinge on whatever has happened, right?
Exactly.
So whatever is happening today, maybe and I don't have any data to support that. But what I feel is that because there's so many engineering and related graduates in the market who are now, there's a huge thirst upon being entrepreneurs. So some of them are doing jobs and some of them are coming up with new innovative ideas around STEM education because they know that they can do that, right? So one, they are, if we talk about entrepreneurship and if we talk about ed tech situation scenario in the country, a lot of the people who have studied engineering and are trying to be entrepreneurial in their pursuits, they are coming up with newer ideas every second day, and that's reaching our schools. This is, my general
Your
observation
experience,
of
okay.
things around. Also, why not STEM? So the challenge is this: when we talk about, see, I am a science person who eventually ended up doing humanities, right? So I can say I got the best of both the worlds. Of course, as Sapna ma'am said, I had this situation, या तो डॉक्टर बन जाओ या शादी कर देंगे. So मैंने फिर बीच का कोई रास्ता निकाल ही लिया, and hence I'm doing what I really love doing today, being a teacher, being a principal. So what science taught me as student was problem solving.
Yes, that's what is the point actually.
What science me was critical thinking and creative thinking as well. People may argue that there's not much of creative thinking in science, but there's a lot of it. You apply a lot of creative thinking while you're doing titration. The kind of imagination, if you are little fertile with your imagination, that titration gives you such beautiful images to kind of, connect with. That is definitely there. Then when we talk about, say, like future, of course, the way things are happening, we cannot deny we all are having lots of things coming to us from science and technology. Even
Exactly.
the music that is reaching to our house so seamlessly through Alexa. You tell Alexa, and you hear the songs that you love to hear. Right? So that is also happening through technology. So we cannot
Exactly.
totally negate that, fine. But yes, at the same time, what I feel is that, the kind of problem solving skills, the kind of other, analyzing skills, how you have to analyze, how you have to observe and comprehend what's happening. If you are trying to prove some hypothesis, you have to be very observant about things. So there are certain scientific attitude related skills that you get to learn when you are doing science or STEM subjects,
That absolutely
which is not just for science. It
exactly.
is applicable everywhere in whatever do in your life. So what I feel is that yes, there has to be a balance, right? We cannot say that humanities or languages or for that matter the fine arts are to be
Fully
just giving the
negated.
back seat and STEM is the one who's going to drive the entire thing. But yes, there has to be a balance. And further, we as parents are really obsessed with what's happening in our neighborhood. So, agar neighborhood wala bacha is doing coding, then why not mine? So, if पड़ोसी शर्मा जी का बच्चा is doing engineering, तो मेरा भी engineering ही करना चाहिए. So there, we parents have to settle down a bit and understand that it's okay. The child may
Exactly.
be interested in science as well as humanities. Let them explore everything that they want to and take some decision because they have to live with it.
You have
So yeah.
rightly pointed, Dr. Neha. You have rightly pointed. Even the intent of this webinar is not to focus on, okay, now we are talking about the demerits of this STEM. No, I just want to take the onus of the entire this STEM, because right now everybody is focusing on this STEM thing, right? Because when we go and do this career planning and all, or the career sessions with the students, that if they will not take the science option, the life is not be there. No, life is there, but I mean, previously the information was the challenge. The information was coming up from the teacher side. But now, if he or she want to study coding, then there are n number of platforms. And this is not related to that, okay, now I have to study this subject, तभी मेरे को समझ में आएगा. नहीं, मेरे को knowledge अगर मेरे को पता लगेगा तो मैं सीख सकता हूँ. Whether I'm in 11th standard, whether I'm in graduation. So this is not the entire point. पॉइंट इज जस्ट कि भाई इसके अलावा भी कुछ लाइफ है या नहीं है. सिर्फ यही एक छोटा सा क्वेश्चन है. या वीना मैम,
NEP में भी तो
That is how. Sorry.
या
Yes,
सपना मैम,
Sapna ma'am.
प्लीज यू कंप्लीट.
आई एम जस्ट सेइंग कि जो NEP का जो हम पेरेंट्स को भी अभी बता रहे हैं, सो वी आर टेलिंग देम कि ये जो आपका कॉम्बिनेशन ले सकते हैं, यू डोंट हैव टू हैव दिस साइंस सब्जेक्ट एंड यू कांट इंक्लूड आर्ट सब्जेक्ट. सो एज डॉक्टर नेहा सेड, सो आई एम एन आर्ट स्टूडेंट, आई एम एन होम साइंस स्टूडेंट, बट क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग उधर गुलाब जामुन बनाने में भी तभी लगता था. हाउ कैन इट गो रॉन्ग?
जैसे परोमिता मैम ने स्टार्टिंग में एक पॉइंट बोला था कि अगर हम स्टेम ऑप्शन लेते हैं, नॉर्मली जब स्टेम ऑप्शन लेते हैं तो नॉर्मली क्या करते हैं, ऑप्शन ज़्यादा रहते हैं. तो लोगों ने क्या करना स्टार्ट कर दिया, PCM की जगह PCM भी लेना स्टार्ट कर दिया. कि बच्चा अगर PCM भी ले लेगा तो वो डॉक्टर भी बन जाएगा और इंजीनियर की तरफ भी जा सकता है. तो मतलब दिस इज बियॉन्ड माई कॉम्प्रिहेंशन. तो मतलब ये कैसे हो सकता है?
That is how NEP 2020 is talking about developing the scientific temper. It is talking of, because unless I started doing the workshops on NEP 2020, maybe scientific temper is one of the fundamental things mentioned in our constitution, but we were not aware of it. So scientific temper is actually developing that sense of attempting problem of any area irrespective of the subject, that how do you go logically finding out the solution to that problem. That is why we are talking about science literacy is different, scientific literacy is different. Science literacy means we're just giving the information about science, awareness. Scientific literacy is actually the procedural thing that Dr. Neha talked about, that they say it's an attitude that one has to develop through
Exactly.
STEM, and which is now also becoming STEAM. And people have to really differentiate between art integrated teaching and integrating art into teaching.
Rightly
There are
pointed.
two different concepts altogether
Very
as per
beautifully
NEP.
explained.
However, we got, as educators, we got to differentiate that. So when we talk about integrating art into the becoming STEM, becoming the STEAM, how did I learn this when I was doing the workshops on critical thinking and creativity integration into classroom curriculum? That how World War I and World War II they laid the foundation for the modern inventions. The blood banks were initiated, the sonar became the first one, atomic energy was used. So they laid the foundations. But when we teach in the class, we teach only World War One, why it happened, where it happened. Whereas if we talk about story as a pedagogy that has emerged recently, so how do we talk about story of World War One, story of World War Two, reshape the world to become the present? How literature, the poster, the arts changed during this World War One. You talk about telegraphic in messages, how people learned that how the message has to be concrete, concise in order to deliver that, and how that story got related to how people turned into those things as newspapers in the beginning. And today we see newspaper and all social media and totally. So how human psychology got changed over a period of time, how social sciences impacted, how Twitter, how social media, Instagram, Facebook, likes,
Mm-hmm.
dislikes on LinkedIn are shaping our thought processes. So, STEM and STEAM is something which is intruding into every part of life.
Very
Apart
beautifully
from that,
explained.
human
Yes,
psychology you talk about,
Very beautifully
social
explained.
science you talk about, the historical monuments you talk about, how you see the domes they were created. They're not only art, but how much science, technology,
Calculation
mathematics
was
has
there.
gone
Hmm.
into shaping of them, and they stand as it is today, having withstood the test of time also. So that is how probably it is.
So how the teacher is actually explaining that will
Thinking that
help them to
has
develop
come
the
into the
scientific
process.
temperament.
So the teacher should be doing like
Exactly.
what Simon Sinek says. So normally Simon Sinek has become the mantra for all teachers.
Yes,
That
three what, why,
everything
how.
is just say why.
Why?
Why did you do this? Why did you do this? Automatically, the teacher who's not even geared up for NEP or
Hmm.
who's not even thinking of why to do it, the management should start questioning why. The principals should start questioning why. So I have just been doing this since morning in the school where I am
Okay.
today. Why did you do this? Why did you require this? And the teachers really don't have an answer for this. No, we did it because we thought when you're coming, the layout will be very good and you will write those heavy words and heavy work, heavy like the activities which you're doing. So I asked them, is it age appropriate what you're doing, or you're just trying to incorporate what I said last time? So many, like ma'am said, Veena ma'am, Promita, Neha, all of them, they are teaching and all of them are regularly going to schools. And many more principals and directors who are going. If they start questioning why are we doing it? Is it required? Are we just supposed to do because we have done it? So, like for example, today I just told them that for Independence Day, everybody wants to just do that run of the mill Rani Lakshmi Bai, Jhansi ki Rani, Mother Teresa. I said, क्यों? वो बच्चे को क्लास 4 के बच्चे को क्या पता, कुछ अभी लेटेस्ट कराओ, स्टीम से एनईपी से रिलेटेड कुछ. So such things are there which are coming out because of reasoning, because people have started reasoning why are we doing it, which we were not doing earlier. So that's
मैम
So if
भोपाल
I
का
talk
स्कूल
about
तो
NEP, so if I just say nowadays NEP has also introduced this interdisciplinary classes and subjects for 11th and 12th. Why have they done it? Because there are many students who have taken up science, even though economics and psychology were they were also introduced along with science as a sixth subject or fifth subject. But still, many students who have got the scientific temper, they still want to do history or geography along with science, which the Indian system did not allow earlier. So this interdisciplinary classes or subjects that the children can choose and pick up, it helps them to balance their choice also. Along with science, they pick up few subjects of humanities where their interest lies. So this is in a way helping the boys students, because many of them who have gone abroad and studied, they always talk about the higher education in USA or UK, where they could pick up and choose subjects from all the different streams. It was not tightly compartmentalized.
so it is there in the IB system, I believe. It is there. It's, I mean, in
It
India
is there in
also.
IB, but it
Yes.
was
not,
not there in the typical
Yes.
was not in
CBSE
I
or
mean,
IB.
CBSE is not there, though they have trying. They're trying to introduce this kind of system. Yeah, Neha ma'am, you wanted to add a point, I believe.
Okay,
I
so
can see
now
that.
when it
Yeah.
comes to CBSE, I really, have to just give some points related
Please,
to it.
please, please do.
One, please, CBSE has never ever told that we cannot mix and match the subjects. CBSE in grade 11 and 12 says that you have to study one language compulsorily, right?
Mm-hmm.
And rest are all, if I'm talking about 11th and 12th, rest are all electives. You can elect any subject. The child can elect any subject. So the schools who are a little progressive,
Hmm.
right? I mean, I've been watching this. They offer with, of course, giving streams gets easier for us to plan things at our end at school, right?
Okay.
Because what happens is that if a child comes to me and says that I want to study biology with psychology and history and economics,
Timetable
I'll be
becomes
like,
an issue.
where am I going to fix you in the timetable?
Hmm.
Timetable becomes an issue.
Where do I have the teachers who can
Yes,
juggle up with
that's a
so much
practical
of
problem
everything?
actually.
That's a practical problem. So that's
That's
why,
the
due to their
practical.
convenience, they have done it.
Yes.
Yes. But
Hmm.
still, we give, so what we try, and then comes the tertiary education, which is still very, very fixed about that if you are going in for BSc, what are the subjects that you have to study or you should pass your grade 12 with. Or if you want to do economics honors, you have to have studied economics with mathematics. Otherwise, we are
The
not going
econ
to
honors,
honor
yeah.
your application. So, there has to be something which is seamless. Thankfully, for the newer changes that are coming in, there are two very significant things which are happening, and luckily enough, I'm part of both of these things that are happening at the policy level. One is no hard separation of subjects. So there's a proposal that has already been developed by a committee, and it was given to CBSE. CBSE only asked us to develop that.
Okay.
So, and that is under consideration, wherein the subjects are being bundled up, and the
Okay.
child is getting liberty to pick the subjects of his or her choice at higher level or at basic level from the bundles, and decide that fine, if I'm taking four, say three higher level subjects, then I can take four basic level subjects, so a
So it
combination.
is there, I believe you have rightly pointed. It's already there. It's just the school are not opting in. More.
No,
So,
and it's getting better. It's
acha.
the proposal to make it better and make it more kind of, convenient
Child
for
friendly.
choice to study the subjects of his or her own choice is
Hmm.
happening. Second, to support this system, already National Credit Framework has been launched,
Yes.
right?
NCF. Hmm.
And this national credit framework makes it even more easier to study the subjects of your choice, not just at school, at different levels. So if I'm getting to study a subject at school, I can study at school. But if I want to do it through some, maybe, through a Diksha portal or through Swayam portal or some place where I can add more knowledge to it, it is not going to go waste. It will
Hmm.
become part of my credit bank, which if in 12th grade I'm doing something of economics and I'm otherwise a student of science, so later on if I want to pursue economics and I have some credits related to economics in my credit bank, I can encash or use those credits to take advantage at a different level. So all these things are happening, these
Neha,
changes.
what I am understanding from your points, that system is already there. The solution is already there, but there's some challenges implementation at the implementation level.
Nothing.
No,
It's
there are
something
two
like
things.
we had maths at the lower level, maths at the higher level.
No, no, I'm not talking about
No,
the
no, no.
options. I'm
There,
talking about
there
the
are two
entire
things.
solution. I'm talking about
Yeah.
the entire
Yeah,
solution
of
is
course,
already
there's a
there.
practical
Yeah,
problem of implementing that.
exactly, exactly,
There's a
exactly.
practical problem. So what
So
is also
one
happening
Neha,
now?
correct me if I'm wrong, because many, not the government school, many elite schools, they talk about Diksha portal, they talk about Swayam portal, but how many schools are logging in and actually giving a chance to the student to explore it?
Hmm.
Where is the, and secondly, when we are talking about these workshops, aren't you all burdened with CBSE, so many workshops which are happening?
No.
We can't, I know you can't
See,
quote this.
there are
Can't
now
quote this, but
we.
I know.
These webinars
I
on
can,
YouTube are there. You can observe them whenever you are
exactly.
free, actually, because I have been doing that. You
Mhm.
go to
See, you
the
know,
web link, and you can anytime when you are free, when you feel like actually learning from that webinar, whether it is Diksha portal. I myself have done so many courses
Chaliye,
out of
let's
that.
not deviate from our topic today
They are
because we have less time.
self-paced
We have only
courses,
half an hour left.
self-learning
Veena ma'am,
desire probably one has
let
to
us
desire in
come
those
back to our
courses.
main question. Let us come back and finish that what we have started. So let me ask another question with Sapna ma'am because she has to rush. We have already shared. So, ma'am, your question is: do you think that it's high time for the parents and students that they must realize the power of vocational courses and must start thinking about opting as a full-time career option? I mean, this is just, yeah.
Yeah, and so why not? If like today, I tell most of the students who I don't take career counseling, but if they come, then I tell them that is there any harm if you become a plumber, superior plumber, because you like plumbing or you like electric work? Why not? Why not today? I shouldn't be. All these are available on YouTube or webinars, but a cook, his salary will be more than a teacher's at places in Delhi itself. My own cook, he goes to 4 houses and he earns. So I give an example to many people that whatever skill vocational you're learning, make it as the best skill and you'll get a job. You should be master in it, whether it is, and parents, it's just a shift of that mind shift is required, because parents will be where I am sitting today, the school where I am, the city where I am. And I know people normally they say that no, 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 we are ready to send them for coaching. We are ready to send them for as much coaching as they want. After that, they fail, they fail. But as a parent, it's our duty to send them for coaching. So shift on this vocational skills and getting as full-time career will take a little bit time, not really a long, but I feel that it's people have at least started thinking. People from earlier, it used to be from the starter where we don't belong to, but from our side also, like I know people who their parents have allowed them to become a musician. They are not studying after 12. They are just doing a music course. I know certain parents who have allowed them that they don't want to study. They have dropped their subjects. They're doing, what is this? I know,
Which
and
thing?
open school they are
NI,
doing.
Huh.
NO,
Yeah.
NOS,
NIOS,
NOS,
NIOS.
NOS, National Open
NOS,
School.
and then they're doing what they want. And they've started, all they have to do is they have to tell, people have started doing a lot of like vocation when we talk, they've started investing a lot. I know many students have got into not this CREO, this currency,
Crypto.
this
Yeah.
crypto, not crypto,
Not
but
crypto.
actually shares,
Yeah.
mutual
Trading
funds.
thing. They are
Yeah,
into
so they've
trading.
started doing this because they can't study. They don't, it doesn't matter.
I,
They just,
I can I just say I also had students who didn't want to go for a typical BA, BSc, BCom or any kind of course. After 12, they openly said, "Ma'am, I love dancing. I want to open my studio. I want to become an entrepreneur. I want to do a dance course." Similarly, few children who were very good in sports, they openly said, "I want to open my lawn tennis academy. I want to open my yoga studio." So they directly went for that. They were away. They wanted to like become an entrepreneur and follow their passion.
but
I
only
told
thing
them it
is
will
you
be
have to be
struggle
determined.
initially. They were willing.
You know why, Paromita ma'am, why this thing is happening? Because
Why?
previously we were not having the examples. Now we have the examples in front of us. Now we can see
Yeah.
that okay, if that
Absolutely.
person is can do this, I can also do
I
this.
can't tell.
And parents, I think, have also changed a bit. They are also supporting their children in following their passion with a little bit of financial help, as well as
There
word
is
of
a
mouth, whatever
huge
way.
transition shift in the mindset when this
It is happening.
Shark Tank has started. I mean the Shark Tank season 1 and this season
Yes.
also. तो उससे
Yes.
बहुत ट्रांजिशन शिफ्ट आया है. नाउ पीपल आर स्टार्ट थिंकिंग कि यार ये एक छोटा सा फूलों का बिजनेस स्टार्ट करके नाउ दैट पर्सन इज डूइंग अ लॉट. I mean, you can also do this. He is
Health,
also
yeah,
nudging their
health
own
related,
kids.
skin
Yes.
related, all kinds of businesses.
I
Neha ma'am,
think
you
I'll,
wanted to
I'll
share
switch
something?
over to phone now if you allow me,
Please,
please.
please,
Five
please,
Yes,
minutes.
Sapna
sure,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank
Sure,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you so
Sapna
much.
ma'am.
Yeah, please.
I'll be
We'll
on
be
the
waiting
phone
for you.
now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, Neha ma'am, please. You wanted to add your point.
yeah. So, of course, one thing which I wanted to say, which Sapna ma'am was trying to, point out, that allowing our children to do something.
Okay.
The point is this: we are so fixated with the idea that we are the ones who have to decide everything. And one thing which is very important is, of course, the communication channels have gotten better within the families, right? We also have to come out of this mindset that we have to allow. We
Hmm.
have to support the child to make the choices.
Hmm.
And at the same time, we also have to be there, that every choice may not turn out to be right. So
Hmm.
we don't have to go and tell the child, हमने तो पहले ही कहा था,
Hmm.
right?
ऐसे
So
क्यूट
अभी मैं एक शो देख रहा था कपिल शर्मा का, तो उसमें एक स्टैंड अप कॉमेडियन था, तो जाकिर खान वॉज देयर एंड बस्सी वॉज देयर, वन मोर
I
वॉज
I
देयर.
I
हाँ.
watched
तो
that
हाँ,
show.
तो उन्होंने जब पूछा था क्वेश्चन कि भाई पेरेंट्स क्यों मना करते हैं, तो कह रहे हैं जाकिर खान ने शायद कहा था कि वो मना नहीं करते हैं, वो कंसर्न होते हैं. वो नहीं,
Right.
ये आपकी ऐसा नहीं होता कि आप नहीं कहीं कुछ गलत कर जाएंगे, वो कंसर्न है, दैट्स व्हाई दे आर इंडल्ज इन दैट डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस. सो व्हेन यू डू समथिंग गुड, दे फील दैट कि हाँ यार मेरे बच्चे ने कुछ अच्छा किया है.
Yeah.
Right.
If I
But
just say,
I
even
think
Shankar Mahadevan was also an engineer. He wanted to follow his passion of music. He worked as an engineer, got a heavy bank balance, suitable bank balance, then moved into his passion. Same for the film director Nagesh Kukunur. He was an engineer in San Francisco. He worked as an IT engineer, had a bank balance, then he moved to filmmaking, which was his passion.
Even
So the
that
parents
Euphoria
actually,
guy
what
who
you
get
say,
that
concern.
full album,
Palasin,
he was a
Palash,
doctor who
yeah,
changed over later on to
Palasin.
become a
Ma'am, I'll tell you
musician.
the reason behind it. I mean, with my own
So I just
understanding.
follow. I agree with what Mr. Gulshan said. Parents are concerned. First, have a career, have bank balance, and then move. But at times, because of getting that bank balance, you miss out on the time of growing your passion or following your
अच्छा,
dreams.
आपने जितने लोगों का भी एग्जाम्पल दिया है ना, वो 20 years बिफोर वाला है, जो ग्रेजुएट्स हैं 20-25 years. आई मीन दे मस्ट हैव डन देयर ग्रेजुएशन बैक इन 1998 or something, right? At that point of time they were not having that enough knowledge. Right now, if I want to pursue my career in specifically in the designing, specifically in the YouTube, then I have ample of information, so I can
Yes,
build my
that's true.
career starting. I mean, nowadays almost every student have their own YouTube channel. Every student is doing something good on Instagram because they have
Yes,
their own
they are.
examples.
They are.
Yes. Paresh sir, I would like to have your views on this. I mean,
Actually,
being
what
just
happens, Gulshan sir,
yeah.
today, even before they apply for a university, they go in for searching out the ranking of that university on the Google
Ma'am,
and finding
everything
out the
right now though
best course
is
that and the best university they can go for. So that is how network and this Google engine or the even if they want to buy something, they'll put it on the Facebook. I want to buy this. Can you suggest? There are so many people giving their
there are
suggestions.
a lot of
So
things, ma'am. We
social
need to
media
be
interactions and all
openly
that have become
vocal
very
about it.
powerful.
Sapna ma'am has pointed out that currently, I mean, if my child, I mean, for an example, my child would like to study MBBS, right? Then I won't mind sending them to LN or some other coaching institution. But if you have some data with you, then you can point out कि यार ये चीज़ कहाँ जा रही है. Last year, almost 18 lakh student gave the NEET examination. Right,
Yes.
18 lakh student gave the NEET examination, and you know only 35,000 seats are there in government and semi-government institutions. And if you talk about the aims, they have only 7 to 900 seats available. And if your rank is 50,000, if your rank is 70,000, then becoming doctor is a nightmare for a middle class student.
It is.
Because and currently MBBS is like out of the question. Like, कुछ पूछता नहीं है. You have to pursue at least DM. Then you will be like you will be have some respect in that industry. Yeah, Paresh sir, I would just to have your views
Yeah,
on this.
I have a couple of points to make in this case.
Please,
Let's-
please,
you know,
please.
there is one very important aspect that that is not touched upon, and that is the socio-economic aspect of that particular family. Now, you know, there are if you look at a farmer's family, you know, the farmer's family who is trying to build up, because I interact with a lot of kids who come from that background at this point of time, you know, since I'm giving some consultation to a lot of kids here around. So now this farmer family, the farmer is working day in and day out and trying to, you know, get the family fed. Now he feels that his the right education for that particular for his child is being an engineer, and he ensures that he goes, sends his son or daughter to an engineering college. Now, engineering college, there are plenty of engineering colleges which are there across. They go, they study, and because that is the ideology that is there across. That is the bottom strategy. If I look at it, that's a bottom strata, you know, from a lower socioeconomic background. Now people from a higher middle class, or probably a middle class, so background or socioeconomic background, their people are the parents are little more aware as compared to those parents. They are aware that there are a lot of good options which are available for their children, which are non-STEM also. There are a lot of fields, psychology, there is economics. There are so many multiple places where kids can make great careers. So now, with over the time, things are changing across. Over the time, parents have started exploring more beyond the stems, the STEM courses. Basically, that's what I think. It's very important for all of us to note across.
Pareshar, one following question for you. I mean, as you are the founder of this company, CerboTech Education, could you please tell us more about it? Then, how your company is helping the students to choosing the right career option? Just give us some
Yeah,
more. Yeah.
sure. See, at this point of time, lot of thought process gets lost in terms of whether it's interested or not interested. A lot of times,
Hmm.
we try and understand if the child is interested into a certain course or not interested. But interest and not interest comes from a lot of cognitive skills, and I'll not speak more about cognitive skills. The challenge here is, can we measure cognitive skills? Can we measure concentration level? Can we measure memory levels? And that's where the challenge comes in. At this point of time, there are a lot of psychometric tests and all which is used to measure.
Hmm.
But what if we can try and use technology? And that's where we come in.
Hmm.
So what we do is, we are a technology company primarily. As a
Hmm.
technology company, we use the brain computer interface technology. Okay. Now, using this brain computer interface technology, we acquire the brain waves of a student. So how do we do that? So we make the child do certain activities. While the child is doing those activities, we using that BCI technology, or the brain computer interface technology. We connect a brain band over here, and the
Hmm.
brain band basically on the prefrontal lobe of the brain. The prefrontal lobe basically acquires the brain waves, the levels of the brain waves, and these entire levels of the brain waves are decoded, and there is a complete proper report which gets generated. This report talks about what is the concentration level of a child, how's the focus, how's the grasping power, how's the problem solving skills, how's the stress taking ability. So there are multiple such reports that is getting generated across, and basis those reports, there are programs that we have, online programs which use concepts like binaural beats, brain training activities. They're completely do it yourself activities which basically help the children enhance those particular
So
cognitive
it
skills.
can
And
be
then again,
enhanced over the period of time.
can be enhanced. So
Can be
cognitive skills
enhanced.
can be enhanced, and they can be remeasured. So we give a comparative report. So now, where are we going to take this? Like today, it's very important for for all of us to know, or we all want to know what our child is good at. So
Hmm.
gradually, we are bringing artificial intelligence into it. So tomorrow we would have a set of students with a certain pattern. For example, IIT going students would have a certain brainwave patterns. So we would be able to measure those brainwave patterns. A psychology students would have a certain brainwave pattern. So those brainwave patterns will be able to define in terms of what is a good career option. But at this point of time, we are taking up with schools. We are tying up with schools. The schools are implementing our programs. I've got meetings in a couple of. I'm coming to Delhi, and I've got a couple of meetings in
We just lost
airport.
Mr.
His
Paresh
So
voice.
voice.
Yeah.
basically, there are
Yeah,
multiple.
it's now audible.
Yeah, am I audible?
You are.
Okay.
Please.
So basically, that's how we are doing at this point of time. We're going across to the schools and tying up with
So
them.
I think it's a continuous process. I believe
It's a
it takes a
continuous
lot
process.
of time. It's still in the nascent stage right now.
Yeah, it is basically implemented. A lot of students have started using. A lot of parents, schools have implemented our programs at this point of time. So it's into the early stage. But yes, technology can be taken to that level where we will be able to define in terms of what is the right career option for the child.
Thanks a lot, Paresh. Thanks a lot. Veena ma'am, now I want to ask you a question. So, certainly that we cannot move away from this STEM education, but how can we find a perfect balance with the other courses as well? I mean, between the
The way
STEM and
I
the other
was talking
courses.
in the beginning was like STEM is an thinking process, probably, though we have defined it as science, technology,
Exactly.
engineering, and maths, and now
Mm-hmm.
with arts being integrated into it, we're calling it STEAM. But scientific way of doing the things,
Mm-hmm.
That's a procedural thing, that how do you collect data, how, if you want to solve a problem, if you have a problem, how do you go about it, how do you collect data, how do you have an hypothesis, how do you make observations, how do you analyze that. That's a mathematical procedure, and that procedure is probably applicable everywhere. If you go back to like the way I was talking about how we used to talk on the landlines, and how today we have smartphone, the whole world on our hands, how the whole life perspective has changed, how the mindset, the thought processes are, how human psychology has changed, how interactions have changed. So human psychology is one of the fundamental things probably I feel that has changed because of the kind of technology has come into
It's a
our
transition
lives.
shift.
And the
Yes.
second thing probably which I learned in the past 2 3 years with the NEP coming up and doing so many thinking about critical thinking, creativity, that how story as a pedagogy has evolved. So how that story, when we connected to World War I, World War II, or even talking about that, when a person was talking about how the blood flows and the fluid flows through the human body, but the person was relating it to Newton's theorem, the Bernoulli's theorem, that how does that talk about it? How the simple activity of, like we had been talking about experiential learning, but how the things have changed to linking learning to experience.
Yeah.
We were talking about learning to read. Now we are talking about reading to learn. We are talking about literacy. We are not talking about developing the skills to read only, but reading to learn. So comprehension, understanding, summarization, briefing, how the thing language has changed, how the language of Twitter has become more crisp and all that. So language has changed, human psychology has changed, life trends have changed, the even the options you are talking about vocational courses, probably people, we may not call them exactly vocational, because I remember in one of the schools when I started my teaching career, we used to have SUPW, socially useful productive work, and we had the best of workshop centers made by the school, but we could hardly put a child into that, not even in commercial art. But today if you say that someone has to do something like commercial art, people are in for it. So thought processes have changed. So I think STEM is not a course by itself, but it is a thought process.
Ma'am,
It is
after listening, Veena ma'am, to be on a very say general note, after listening to your ideas, na, I think there's lot to be done for the professional development for teachers, and it's going to
definitely there's a lot to
उसमें
be done,
बहुत time
because
लगेगा,
how do you
because the way
relate
you are
that?
teaching, the way
How,
you are
I'm
telling the
telling a
things, now
simple
I have not
example of
seen.
floating and sinking that we used to do, how it goes to talking about floating of aeronauts in the space. So gravitation, how it is talking about deep learning. That NEP says one of the fundamental concepts of deep learning, that even when you teach gravitation in the space, floating in space, to talk about how child learned that orange will float or sink, or lemon would float or sink, and how child will learn in those early classes. So how deep learning, those connecting of concepts will come. So STEM for me, for the others, maybe like many of us in general, maybe science technology, but it is a way of thinking, it is way of implementing the thoughts, it's way of integrating the
So, ma'am, this
processes.
applies to every subject. I mean, according to you, this
For
applies to
me,
every
every
subject.
subject
Yeah,
can.
this applies
If
to
you
every
talk about
subject.
economics, how will you do it without mathematics?
Of course, yes.
How will you do the procedural stuff? If you
That's
want to
wonderful.
make a business model, how will you create that without taking the data into consideration? Like I come from an edtech company background also. So how did we even go for doing what we want to do? So we had to do a lot of data collection, analysis, what the market needs. Even for voiceover, we had to really do so many of search, that what kind of voiceover will fit into the Indian context.
काफ़ी कुछ है मैम, काफ़ी कुछ है.
Right.
Neha मैम, I would like to have your views on this. I mean, since that you are currently, I mean, as a principal, I mean, especially in the Delhi NCR region, so how you counsel the students when the student comes to you after 10th standard? Okay, now ma'am, I've got 70% marks, but I want to take it PCM because my father told me, or my mother told me, or my mama told me that I have to become an engineer. So, but my current aptitude level is not up to the mark, and hence, yeah, just a
Yeah,
simple
so
question.
we don't start late. We try to start early.
Okay.
What we do is we have explored I'll say it's quite unique thing that we have started doing is
Mm-hmm.
wherein we do a career exploration fest,
Okay.
which is done by the students of grade 11 and 12 who have already taken up our stream and who are settled in that stream
Okay.
for their younger, um, for the younger students of the school,
Mm-hmm.
the grade 7th, 8th, 9th graders, 10th graders.
Mm-hmm.
So what they do is that the science stream will defend humanities as to
Okay.
what is great about humanities, why should one study humanities.
The science
And
student are taking this.
yeah, the
Right?
science, the entire class, the entire science section will defend humanities that why you should. And I'll tell you the process, that's
Hmm.
just a start. Then humanities team will be defending, say, for example, commerce.
Okay.
Commerce will be defending sciences. So they'll be all defending each other's stream and
Hmm.
defending in the sense that they'll tell that what is there ahead of them if they take this particular stream as their subject. And at the same time, they don't do it just through a presentation that they prepare a PPT.
Okay.
So this year, when we had this, we had a moot court
Oh.
of children defending. We have एक students की अदालत based on the आपकी अदालत by Rajat Sharma's case. ठीक है? So there was one. We also had a Shark Tank doing
Acha.
the whole defense thing, right? And in that process, we achieved two purposes in this. One, the children who have, for whatever reasons, was it peer pressure, was it family pressure, have taken up a stream, they start likening and appreciating the other stream.
Hmm.
And the younger ones, they understand that if the child who's studying science is saying good things about commerce, that means that something more to whatever he or she is exploring.
Hmm.
So they also come out of that fixed mindset of that if somebody is studying science, they can talk only about science. We also talk about the career options available. We talk about the good colleges, how to get entry in those colleges, how to prepare your profile if you want to go in. And
Mm-hmm.
not just that, this is just a part of it. We also talk about careers which are beyond 9 to 5.
Okay.
We also talk about career in defense. We also talk about new age careers,
Hmm.
which even includes like radio jockeying and blogging.
Unconventional career options. On
Yes.
that category, yes.
So, right. So this is like kind of a festival that we do for depending on what all we have to cover.
That's a great exercise.
Yeah, for
Wonderful
1 day
exercise.
and 2 day, and take my word here, we teachers are just the spectators. They do their scripting, they do their presentation, they raise up their demands as to what they want to do, how they want to do,
Hmm.
and the entire thing is done by them. We are just there at the back signing their requisitions and letting things happen. So things are kind of
Things are
changing,
changing, I'm
and
sure.
I have also, so for briefly for around 5 months I worked as assistant director general in the Ministry of Skill,
Okay.
NSDA,
Mm-hmm.
where I got
Oh, skill
this
development guy.
opportunity, yeah, to visit world skills.
Okay.
And that was at Abu Dhabi, and it was absolutely an eye opener for me, wherein the competitions were in areas like bricklaying,
Okay.
making, painting a car. And, I mean, think of a skill, plumbing, as we were talking about, carpentry, beautician, anything, table layout for that matter, visual merchandising.
Hmm.
And the thing was that we of course were new to this whole thing. There was so much happening, and
Hmm.
when I spoke to somebody, like I found it really funny that there's a competition about doing paint on the car. So I just said, I mean, why this? So the person said that, imagine you have a Mercedes Benz and you get a dent. Will you go to that car mechanic shop, which is pichli wali in the piche wali gali? No, you won't. You need a person who specializes in this work, because you're not going to give your such an expensive car in the hand of anybody, for that matter. Same goes for, say, for example, if you are planning a very interesting building. Fair enough, you have an architect, you have an interior designer, but then if you are planning a swanky state of art building, will you let any person take up the responsibility of executing whatever the architect has designed? No, you would like a person who knows their job. And here it is, and it's happening across the globe. So there were contingent from around 52 countries. And the interesting thing was Taiwan, China, they had not one but two to three contingents, and they literally swept the entire medals tally with golds and all. Of course, we got our very first silver in that, and few commendations this year.
Neha, what did you present for silver? Like, what was your theme?
No, so we got in bakery this thing.
Good at eating our Indians.
It's all about
Foodies.
food. We are foodies by all means. But yes, this year, the next year, where it was somewhere in Russia, the other one, Ukraine or Russia, I'm not very
Okay.
recall. So there, the performance of Indian contingent was better, and I think we got our first ever gold there. And this year, it's going to, because now a lot of work is happening.
So this competition is open for every school, or like there's a age category to it?
There's age category to it, but it's open for school going students.
Okay.
And there are students who are studying in ITIs, so it's open for them.
For them
There
And
as
how
well.
did you find out about that?
Simply just Google World Skills Council and India Skills. So better to go in for India Skills. If you'll Google India Skills, you'll get to know that what India is doing in this competition. And there's
Okay.
a council for it, and there are lots of sector skill councils. So they are the ones who come and support these students who are going. They
Who
train them.
sponsor this trip? Like, I'm just asking another question. Who sponsors this trip?
It is, the contingent is sent
Sponsored by central government.
NSDC. National Skill Development Corporation
Okay.
is the one who takes the responsibility of identifying the talent across the country.
Okay,
They
NSDC.
train them, they make them, try to make them better. They identify the children from various organizations through, they have their systems in place. And it is like, ministry is heavily involved in it. Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, they are.
So there's a
heavily-
huge intervention from the ministry side as well. So they're also
Yes.
doing a lot to the students' support. I mean, they
Yes,
must
yes.
do some
See,
skilling
it's a
thing.
different world altogether. What is happening is, we are from the school background, right?
Okay.
So we know more as to what is happening here. There's yet another world which we are not aware of.
Yeah.
And we need to go and explore that as well. So we cannot say that nothing is happening. Maybe it's not
No,
happening.
lot is happening, Neha. Lot is happening from the government side. Only thing
Right.
is we don't know the websites. We don't know कौन से fund से हम पैसा निकाल सकते हैं. There is money in the government, but we don't know the schemes.
Sapna ma'am, if we
In any
scroll,
case, that is how the
just a
specialized
small
people in
observation,
urban
if we
clap are
scroll
running, like,
LinkedIn for
special-
next
for their
50 minutes ना,
specializations, right?
15 मिनट अगर LinkedIn scroll करते हैं तो हमको लगता है कि यार हम कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं. Lot happening,
Absolutely.
isn't it? I mean, this
Oh,
is one
absolutely,
small observation. मुझे
absolutely.
लगता है कि यार मैंने आज कुछ नहीं किया.
मुझे तो बहुत हो जाता है कि oh God,
FOMO.
हो गया
तो
है.
बहुत कुछ हो रहा है, बहुत कुछ हो रहा है.
देखो,
चलिए
another
एक छोटा सा
language
फन
term
एक्टिविटी है
FOMO.
सबके लिए. छोटा सा फन एक्टिविटी है. सो आई वांट एवरीवन टू गिव 2 suggestions. Okay, 2 suggestions for the students. क्या आप कोई सजेशन देंगे? सो आई एम गिविंग यू 20 seconds just to think about
11
it, and
नंबर पे
one by one I'll ask the
37
suggestions
बाकी है
from
publish.
everyone one by one. So this is how
क्या
things will
क्या
go.
बोला आपने? I could hear.
Suggestions related to career
Suggestions, yeah,
options or
career options. I mean, how broad thinking they should adapt while choosing a career options. Anything that you would like to suggest to the student. So one by one. So in one go, I'll ask Mr. Paresh. Then you will say your suggestion. So once I complete the one round, then again I'll start the other round. ठीक है? And I'll say the name randomly. Would that be fine? Any suggestion? So this is just a fun side from our side. So I'll give you 20-25 seconds to think about it. ठीक है? Few seconds left. ठीक है. So I'll start with Veena ma'am. What's your suggestion?
I think today's generation need to be really data sensitive. They can go in for data analyzing of any career that they want to do, which is available to them, and they should accordingly do it with their mindset of a career for themselves as well as a passion for which they are crazy for. That's
Wonderful.
what I would like to suggest to all of them.
Sapna ma'am.
I'll go more for creative skills like what I feel there in. We have created Google, so we are all dependent on Google. Can children form something which is more specific to city related? Yeah, some ideas where they can just help people to find their colony. Mapping can be done.
Just to be
because
more
all
creative, I mean,
colonies in
per se.
Delhi-
Just to be more creative. कुछ भी suggest कर रहे हैं, कुछ भी choose कर रहे हैं. Just be more open and more creative, I believe.
नहीं,
Yes.
जैसे दिल्ली में कॉलोनीज के कुछ पता ही नहीं होता, E7 इधर है तो 4 उधर है. So where children can come up with a plan where everything is more organized.
Fair enough. Okay. Paromita miss, what's your suggestion to the current
my
generation?
suggestion to the kids will be, if they want to go for a profession which is slightly out of the box, slightly different, my first point will be, okay, you can follow your passion, we are there to support you, but if you want to start a career, first come down to the basics, keeping the socio-economic condition in mind. How much money do we need to start that? How much money do you need to start your entrepreneur journey or startup journey? How much parents can support and give? How much you have to earn before, and how much loan you are going to take? So keep those things clear and then move ahead.
Perfect. Paresh sir?
I'll just give you one thing. Sorry, but as she said, so I'm also a mother of a 30-year-old. He left all whatever we are talking, engineering,
Same here.
Deloitte, Bain, and he started a career, his own entrepreneurship without my money. And his brand is called Creo, which is very different. I said, what are you doing? So he's connecting all the data, like for making the people who make YouTube and people who make pictures. So with content creation, he has created his own brand. So as Neha said, that children are smarter than us. We don't have to give them any advice. Just let them be.
Ma'am, advice is important. Don't undermine. Okay.
No,
Pare-
advice in the sense ki let them follow their passion. You can guide them.
So that's what. Yeah, Paresh sir, please.
Yeah, if a student or if a child is confident about something that he can build a career into, I think they should continue walking that path, because every path, if you choose any sort of career that you want to, you have got great options in today's world. So every career that is there across, any career that you choose across, you've got great options available, and you can build a good career. So don't get influenced. You should be confident about your own choices.
Perfect. Neha ma'am.
Okay, I'll just share a small story, very small story. So there was a person who went to Buddha and asked, ki, by you need to suggest me that which area I should make my career in. What should I be doing in life? The answer that he got was that just be a good human being.
Human being, right? Just be a good human being. That has been the story even on LinkedIn, like in different way, the same.
Yes. So the thing is this, first and foremost, be someone who is like responsible and respectful about whatever is around him or her. Also, definitely they can choose their own path, but what is important is that walking fast or achieving something is not important. Doing it in the right direction is important.
Hmm.
You may keep exploring thousands of things, but then, if you're not able to kind of concretize something, say after, you should have a vision in front of you, and it should be a well researched vision. It should not be random Sheikh Chili ke sapne kind of a thing. So there should not be a lot of gap between your imagination, your vision, and your execution, right?
Exactly.
So be sure about what you want to do in life, have a vision, do your research as to how you can reach to that next level, have your goals in front of you, the ones which are smart, which you can, go check every now and then and see that fine, here is where I've reached. And if you have to realign yourself, do it, and be ready to, as it is very commonly being discussed these days, learn, unlearn, and relearn,
Relearn.
There's a
right?
lot to be
So be
discussed.
ready for it. Keep changing if you feel. See, I very briefly share. I started as a journalist,
Okay.
right? Then I have huge passion towards theater. So I've been a professional theater person as well.
Hmm.
But then, as a teacher, as a principal, I've been a government servant as well, for that matter, right? But then I identified myself to this profession that I am today in more than anything else. So I'm here. But it was not this that if I got stuck at a place, I stayed there. Because I have one life and I cannot waste it sulking about, something and not taking steps to make it better for myself.
So
So,
life will.
go, just do whatever you want to, but use this.
So wonderful. The life
जो
will
भी
give you
करो
a.
शिद्दत से करो, फुल
ये शायद
100% डेडिकेशन से करो,
ये
ये
वीना
शायद
मैम की
हमारे
दिल से
पेरेंट्स
निकली है
come
बात।
your
हाँ,
way.
वीना मैम का बिल्कुल दिल से निकला है कि भाई
ये शायद हमारे पेरेंट्स ने अलाउ नहीं किया हमको। आई रिमेम्बर अभी नेहा मैम वाज टॉकिंग अबाउट थिएटर। आई आफ्टर माय फादर वाज अ जॉइंट डायरेक्टर ऑफ इसरो एंड ही वाज एन इंजीनियर। ही वांटेड हिज सन आल्सो टू बी एन इंजीनियर। व्हेन आई टोल्ड हिम आफ्टर 12 दैट आई वांट टू गो एंड डू something into dramas and I want to go and after my graduation do FTI and all, he said खाए अपने बी बच्चों को खिलाएगा क्या, get your engineering done.
So you have done your engineering, right? You have done your
I've done my
engineering. So you are more concerned for your future wife, rather than your career. चलिए, thank you
Actually,
so.
all the courses are interlinked, STEM and non-STEM. Even if I follow a STEM career profession, I'll have to take the help of those who are in non-STEM areas. They're both interlinked, so we just cannot clearly compare, make them different, and both have to work together in tandem.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let me formally end this webinar, then we can have our own chat, small chat. So thank you everyone, Veena ma'am, Neha ma'am, Paresh sir, Paromita ma'am, Sapna ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your views. I'm really sure, and even I believe that by listening to the ideas and the things that we have discussed in this webinar, the students will get a lot of, can say, new ideas, and it will definitely help them to gain more momentum in their life. So again, I thank you on the behalf of Inspired Valley. Thank you everyone.